More than 2.4 million people in Arizona are enrolled in Medicaid as of January of this year. That's an increase of 33% since March of 2020. But now that federal requirements are changing, it may be time for you to renew your Medicaid coverage so you don't risk losing it. Joining us now to sort through it all is Chief Executive Officer Jean Kalbacher from UnitedHealthcare Community Plan of Arizona. Good morning, Jean. How are you this morning?
Hey, I'm doing great, Rachel. Thanks so much for having us to talk about this critical topic.
It is definitely critical, and we are hearing a lot about how people on Medicaid could lose coverage. So what can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so, during the COVID public health emergency, all state Medicaid agencies were required to maintain continuous coverage for their eligible Medicaid beneficiaries. There were a lot more people that were eligible for Medicaid, and because states could not terminate members, many people stayed on the rolls. As you mentioned before, there's 2.4 million people currently enrolled with Access, which is the state Medicaid agency here in Arizona, but unluckily, close to 600,000 of them may no longer be eligible for those benefits due to the federal requirement changes. And that could be because they had some type of change during the PHE, like they had new family members added to their plan and or they had a change in their income level. So it's really critical right now so that people can maintain their coverage that they go and update all their contact information with Access.
Okay, now tell us why it's so important for people to maintain this health coverage.
Yeah, we all know that regular doctor visits for individuals and families allow them to obtain preventative care and screenings, which just enable them to live healthier lives. We also know that if people don't have coverage, that they don't take care of their chronic conditions, they may not go get regular scheduled vaccinations. And they also, since they don't go to the doctor, they might not find out about new conditions that they have. So the long-term outlook for them may be going down since they are not going to have coverage and they don't get those doctor visits.
So we're talking about preventative care as well, which is really important. And what do people need to know about checking or renewing their eligibility for Medicaid coverage?
Yeah, I think there's three big things to do. So in Arizona, you definitely need to go online with Access to check both your contact information and your eligibility information. So you can do that in a couple different ways. You can go to healthearizona.gov online, or you can call 1-855-HEA+. or 1-855-432-7587. And again, that's to update your contact information, so your phone number and your mailing address, and also find out what month your renewal, because everyone in Arizona will have a different renewal month. And also know that Access will be sending out renewal information to everybody. So when you receive that information, it will have a deadline, and people need to respond by that deadline to Access to maintain their coverage. And also, if they're no longer eligible for Medicaid due to some of those change in statuses that we talked about before, they may be eligible for an individual and family plan on the individual exchange, so they can find that at healthcare.gov, or they may be eligible through their employer, an employer of someone else in their family. So there's still lots of different ways that people can maintain coverage even if they're no longer eligible for Medicaid.
Jean, that is excellent information. You covered it all. Pay attention to those deadlines, an important issue, and we thank you so much for joining us this morning about this very important issue. Thank you, Jean.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.